Yes, Mukul. So thank you so much. We can start.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I hope I am audible clearly, and my voice
Yes.
is so volume is also good, right, Nitika? All right. So, welcome everyone. Today's session is very interesting because first it is about future, and second it involves predictions from a variety of diverse individuals who four individuals that we have taken who are well-known futurists. One is a physicist, Dr. Mikio Kaku. Another one is Ray Dalio, who is a hedge fund manager. Third one is Ray Kurzweil, who is director in Google. And the fourth one is the famous Yuval Harari, who is a well-known historian. So all of these people have done extensive research right from history and and from technological backgrounds and how sapiens have this inner desire of knowing future. This is not just desire of the current generation. It has always been there in human mind that they want to know future. Sapiens has this idea of perfecting their life always. That's why they are very curious to know about future, so that they can plan accordingly and adapt ourselves to survive better. So in that context, today Shivo sir is going to tell us how he sees future based on the astrological models that he has developed. And the interesting part is here we are not talking about very distant future, what will happen after 100 years or 200 years, because we won't be there to validate it anyway, right? So what's the point, even if we know it? But we are talking about very near future, what will happen by 2045 or 2047. These are scientists are usually predicting by 2045. I don't know how they arrive to that year. It's a mystery. But astrologically, Shivo has decided 2047 as the year. So it's a mystery. We will look into it. So let's start. Shivo, you want to say something to
Uh,
set the
Actually, the 2047 came because it is 25 years, and there is a lot of talk about 2047. But
Mm-hmm.
if you wanted me to fix up a year when a lot of changes will begin, uh, a different kind of future will begin to get created than what we experience. That year would be 2049.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, Before that, the year was when something new would begin to happen is something like 1940 or 41. Uh, and we know that how after uh, that particular period. Okay, so what happened in 1941 and what will happen in 2049? Let me explain that first. So this is the period, this 100 or 109 years, something like that. This is a very strong Mercury era. This Mercury era became right when the World War was going on, and we have seen that how after the World War II the whole world is changed. A lot of you would be knowing the qualities, the character of Mercury, planet Mercury. And if you see that after 1945, what we have had is the era of Mercury all over world. So what does Mercury stand for? It stands for freedom. It stands for consumerism. It stands for travel. It stands for entertainment. It stands for communication. It stands for media. And that's what has been happening since 1945. And as Mukul said very often while we were discussing about this session, that there is a habit in human beings that we start to project all the trends linearly. Like we believe as if what is happening, all the technology, the robots, the computers and artificial intelligence, it is going to go on forever. No, it's not going to go on forever. These trends are going to continue. These will become stronger and stronger till 2049. After that, the era will begin to shift, and by 2076, the era of Saturn will arrive. 2076. we would have this. There is this 26-year of period of transition where the Mercury would be going and Saturn would be coming in. But 2076, the Saturn is going to arrive full-fledged, and the whole consciousness would change. Nobody would bother about social media after that. Nobody would bother about the artificial intelligence and computers, and I promise you, the world will be much more difficult. The freedom is going to grow for next um, 28 years, 27 years. One of the prediction I was telling Mukul that before this Mercury era ends, there will be democracy everywhere. It seems unbelievable that there will be democracy in China, but this is what I'm predicting before 2049. There will be democracy in Russia. There will be democracy in Islamic nations. Yes, Mukul. And another prediction,
Wow.
because we are talking about democracy, there will be the form of democracy will get refined more and more next 28 years to come. There will be many more experiments, and where we need to look towards, which are the nations which will show us the way. Those nations are
मुकुल भैया आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
एक मिनट में तेरा एक ईयरफोन लेकर आता हूँ मैं. Just give me a minute.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So I want to ask audience, where do we start with? We have four futurists. One is a historian, one is a technologist, one is physicist. So where do we start with? Because I'm from technology background, so I'm little biased toward technology.
I feel that if we go for the economic base and how it will be for India and the future.
Okay, so that's about changing world orders.
Am I more audible, Mukul?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
sure. Nimish, I would like to
So
keep
at
that
what
towards
point?
end.
At what?
Yeah, sure.
So at what point you lost my voice? What was I
Just
talking that time?
last statement.
So we need to look at. So I was saying that democracy will get. See, in past 10 years across the world, there has been a lot of voices which said democracy is not good for the world. I will come to the reasons why that happened in past 10 years, but that's not how the trend is going to be. The world will become more and more democratic. And one more trend which will happen is a lot of people talk about the accession of China, ascendance of China. But no, in China's time will come, but that is after 2076. Before that, it will be the US who will rule, because currently is a time for intellect. It is a time for democratic nations to rule supreme. Yeah, Mukul, please.
Okay, so Shivo, we'll start with one technological breakthrough, which is a very big example, and it happened in 1997, which is your favorite year anyway. So I'll start with that example, and that will set tone how technology started overpowering humans, and with a very practical example, and at what speed it has evolved, right? So in 1997, all of us know, most of us know, IBM developed a chess software called Deep Blue, and that software defeated the world chess champion Garry Kasparov. So that was a very big event, because a lot of people did not know that a software can play chess, and if it could this well, that it will defeat the world chess champion.
Very true.
And
It
from
was
there on,
that was a breakthrough event for humanity for sure. Yes. Yeah.
absolutely. But the game did not stop there, right? It evolved so fast. I'll just give you the detail very shortly. I'll not bore everyone. After Deep Blue, there were another software was developed called Stockfish, and its computing power was 70 million positions per second. 70 million positions per second. Chess positions it was capable of calculating, and it defeated every every chess champion out there in the world till 2018. Okay. Then in 2018, Google came up with a learning algorithm, learning program called Alpha Zero. It's not a chess software. It is just a neutral learning software which learns everything. You just feed in the data and it will learn. And it challenged Stockfish. Stockfish, the most powerful chess software of that time, which was capable of calculating 70 million chess positions per second. On the day of the competition, Alpha Zero had zero knowledge about the game. They trained that algorithm with the chess data. What are the players in the chess and what are the rules? That Alpha Zero software learned chess in 9 hours and defeated Stockfish on the same day. Can you believe this? The program, which did not know about the game, learned that game in 9 hours and defeated the most powerful chess software on the same day. And here is even more surprising fact. Alpha Zero had power of calculating only 80,000 positions per second. And Stockfish, which was defeated, it had a computing power of 70 million positions per second. Can you believe this? This is the power of artificial intelligence, not just computing power. Computing power has its own advantages, and most of our predictions are around the staggering computing power that has evolved. But just the sheer intelligence of the algorithm. And if for some, if the audience is feeling too overwhelmed by the technical details, let me give a very simple example. Algorithm, what I'm forgetting. Okay, I'll share that in due course of the discussion. But this is the power of the technology. It is not able to defeat humans, but it is also able to defeat its own predecessors at a staggering pace. And this was in 2018. Every year the technological developments are happening so fast. There is a law called Moore's law that every 18 months the computing power doubles. So with that as a basis, two futurists have predicted future predictions on the technology side. So we'll discuss that one by one. So sure, should we start?
Please, yeah.
Right. So the foremost futurist who is well known for his predictions and his accuracy is 86%. So you can go on Google, and he's from Google only, Ray Kurzweil. He's very famous. He has made a lot of predictions in the field of artificial intelligence, and most of them have come up true. So he has predicted that by 2045, the computing power of the computers will develop to such an extent that it will surpass human intelligence by a large margin, wherein humans cannot anymore fill that gap. He calls that as a singularity moment. Based on this hypothesis, he has predicted few things. So I'll just read it out. He's talking a lot about nanobots. Nanobots are nothing but robots whose size is nanomillimeter. They are very small, just like blood cells. So based on that, he's saying that nanobots will be able to overpower human immune system. Nanobots will be inserted in your body. They will take over the immune system, and the diseases like cancer, Parkinson disease, Alzheimer, they will vanish from the history of the earth. It is that powerful. Currently, human immune system is not able to fight these deadly diseases. For example, cancer. Cancer is a disease which develops gradually. So it is very difficult. Whenever it is detected, it is usually very late. And that's the problem, because immune system has already become weak and not able to fight cancer cells. Cancer cells are already present in our body, but they cannot group together. Our immune system puts curfew on cancer cells so that they can't group together. Once they start grouping together, then it's very difficult to defeat them. So Ray Kurzweil is saying that nanobots will have that amazing immune power, which will fight cancer cells and not the good cells. Current cancer treatments, what happens is they target cancer cells, but at the same time, they end up killing good cells also. That's why cancer treatments are so painful, chemotherapies and all. But with the help of nanobots technology, nanobots they'll be literally like cells. They are so small. They are made of proteins and some metals and even diamond particles, and they are energized through blood cells. They receive energy from blood cells, so they are as good as cells, artificial cells, and they will have immense power, much more power than human cells. And that is why they will be able to defeat diseases like cancer, Alzheimer, and Parkinson's. So that's the power of artificial intelligence that he is predicting, and this is by 2045. The next level of prediction that he has done is very, very controversial, and he's saying that we'll be able to create virtual convincing
Mukul, shall I just make some comment on this? On this nano robots?
Absolutely,
yeah. So
yeah, please.
That is the kind of world which is going to come 2076 onwards. That will be a world, the biggest challenge of that world is going to be the control. The few people will be able to control. Now, if you can have the robots which can eradicate cancer, you can also have robots which will create the cancer in your body, isn't it? Same technology. Now, that depends on the intention of who has the power. But the kind of technologies which are emerging today, you may not see them, but by the time this era of Saturn arrives, they will be like full-fledged. How many of you have seen, can I have a show of hand, how many of you have you seen the Matrix? Have you seen Matrix?
Yes, Shivo, I have seen.
Many times to actually
Yeah.
understand what it is.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, you can have show of hand. Yeah, thank you very much. So how many of you believe that we'll actually have the world like Matrix? Is it feasible with the current technologies?
I think that though it can be controversial, but I think if something is put inside your body, and if it can be controlled by some wireless technology, then you can be controlled.
So there are already technologies. It is not just the control of body, but there is also going to be the control of mind, and the technologies are already arrived. So there is one project in US, satellite project, which I think is called HARP, HARP. I may be a little wrong in the abbreviation, but probably it is HARP. So there is a lot of accusation going on that it is sending the vibrations in the world to control the minds, to make the people believe a certain truth. And this might be true. I'm not saying it is true. If it is not true, there will be technologies like that in another 60, 70 years. By the end of 2100, you might see that the world, which so in a very gloomy way depicted in Matrix, actually will arrive. So it is very, very essential for all of us to really understand how do we really work on keeping that danger away. How do we meet that challenge? It's going to be the heaviest, most difficult challenge for humanity ever, that few people will be able to control your mind through vibrations. So we have been thinking a lot that what can QuantoLife do so that we can create something so that this kind of situation doesn't happen. Rather, we go into a situation of immense human empowerment So there are ideas about that. Maybe not now, but maybe I will share today if people want to know the ideas. So yes, Mukul, please go on.
Interesting. So Shiva, on the same lines, the other futurist, Dr. Mikio Kaku, he has predicted that same, instead of nanobots, he called them nano bullets, and he has also predicted about DNA chips. He says that by 2030, there will be DNA chips developed and they will be fitted in our toilets, and they will daily scan the signature of cancer cells from human excretion. And if the chips detect that there is a grouping of more than 1,000 cells or 100 cancer cells, then it will alert that this is the starting of cancer and you may get this is 10 years down the line. So they'll be able to detect way early, which is not possible now, just because we have very high computing power and very advanced level of nanotechnology. So that is
Yeah.
one
So
of the interesting predictions.
all
This
that
will happen by
is going to,
2030.
yeah, yes. All this will be reality. Okay, so in some time, we are also going to discuss what the future is in immediate term, what it would be next 2 years, 3 years time, which is much more valuable for entrepreneur. Can we mute? Yeah. So so we will also be discussing what the next 2 to 3 years look like. Yeah, Mukul, please go on.
Sure. So coming back to entrepreneurship, right? Again, the same extension of the technology. Here, the historian Dr. Yuval Harari, who is a very famous author. He has written *Sapiens*, *Homo Deus*, and 21 lessons for 21st century. So he has made some predictions, and he's saying that in very near future, not even 2045, in very near future, the technology will replace humans in every skill set. We know that due to industrial revolution, machines replace humans where physical skills or capabilities were concerned. But because of the technology evolution, now technology is replacing humans in mental and cognitive abilities as well. So what he's saying is the world will end up creating people who are not employable, because the level of expertise and skills they are offering will be far inferior compared to the AI algorithms or AI powered machines.
That is very much true, actually, and I think everybody knows that, and everybody would agree with that. I think the bigger question that is going to be, Mukul. I'll come to the bigger question,
I'll just complete
please
that.
Continue.
I'll just complete that example. So what he's saying is there are two sides to it. One, there is a positive aspect, there's a negative aspect. Positive aspect, he has given an example of self-driving cars. Every year, 1.3 million people lose their life in car accidents. And the top three reasons are either the driver is drunk and driving, or driver is busy replying to the text messages, or he is not obeying the traffic rules. All these things will be replaced by AI algorithm, and the car driving will be very, very safe. Near perfect driving experience, because AI algorithm, it will not drink alcohol, obviously. Second, it will follow all the traffic rules. Third, it will not be bothered about the distraction because it is programmed that way to drive safely. So this is the positive aspect. Negative aspect is what will happen to the people who are taxi drivers. They are not just unemployed, but they are unemployable. They cannot be employed. Where will they be employed? So slowly AI will start intervening in all the classes of the skills, and there will be a global useless class. That's the word that you use. It's a very strong word, but that's the word they have used. Useless class. Then what we'll do? Because once someone becomes financially useless, they also become politically useless. So what will happen is very few people, for example, if one driving algorithm is owned by one corporation and 2-3 billionaires own that corporation, so 2-3 billionaires will dominate the entire industry. And this is what they are referring as digital dictatorship.
And that's when people become so mentally inefficient, or when their mind is of virtually of not much application in society. That's when the democracies are going to collapse across the world, and that's going to happen anywhere between 2049 to 2076. Democracies will constantly collapse, and there is going to be huge dictatorships that will emerge every part of the world, now
But
there
sure, you
is
said
one.
every nation.
No, that is
Yeah.
still 2049. 2049
Okay.
will be the peak of democracy. And after that, the situations
Okay.
that are going to emerge, the technologies that are going to emerge, suddenly you will realize that democracy cannot sustain. There will be many reasons for that. One of the reasons will be the problems which we are going to face. The natural disasters are going to be so big, it will require a very, very quick action, which democracies are very slow. That is one thing. Second thing,
Yeah.
today, whatever it may be, there may be a lot of difference between the intelligence of someone who is at very high end, very educated, very intelligent, and the someone at the bottom of the pyramid. There may be a lot of difference, but that difference is not that huge. Maybe that difference is 1:10 or 1:100. But what if this difference becomes 1:1,000,000, when people are not just employed, but they are also unemployable, right? Then their minds are just not being sharpened, not being used. Then what happens? There is a continuous deterioration. And then there will also be technologies where the minds of human will be very easy to control. Those technologies are already there, and they will be like sharpened and will become very, very efficient. So we will arrive at the world like uh, like what is shown in the Matrix. We are going to arrive at that world, and that's why I always say a few conscious people have to be really prepared to counter that kind of scenario, and there is a way to deal with that. Also, one question which is very hotly debated today everywhere in the world, and I'm asking this question to everyone: do you think that at some point machines will be the masters and humans will be the slave? How many of you think that there will a time is going to soon come in next 20 years, 50 years, when machines will be the masters and humans will be the slave?
Probably in 25 years, next 25
हम कुछ
years.
बोले ना,
So you believe that?
Yeah.
हम कुछ बोले सर,
शॉर्ट में बोलिए, शॉर्ट में.
सिर्फ इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि एक दिन आदमी भगवान बन जाएगा, इमॉर्टल हो जाएगा.
नहीं, कैसे मॉडल हो जाएगा?
जब वो हर चीज कंट्रोल कर सकता है, तो फिर वो ना भगवान को भी कंट्रोल करेगा.
नहीं, इस पे आता हूं मैं. सब चीज कंट्रोल कर सकता है, ह्यूमंस को कंट्रोल कर सकता है, डजंट मीन भगवान को कंट्रोल करेगा. इसी पर आता हूं मैं. See, I am
ह्यूमंस की
not
नजर में
saying
भगवान बन सकता है.
ह्यूमंस की नजर में, मतलब एक दिन हिटलर तो भगवान था ही ना. पर उसका भी क्या हुआ हिटलर का, हम सब जानते हैं ना. हम जानते हैं.
किसी ना किसी के.
हाँ, तो हम जानते हैं ना हिटलर का क्या हुआ है.
True.
तो क्या जब ऐसा समय आ जाएगा कि मशीन्स ने सारा ह्यूमन लेबर ले लिया, ठीक है, अभी एक दिन मशीन्स आपका मेंटल लेबर भी ले लेंगी. आपकी मेंटल एनालिसिस, माइंड से आप काम करते हो, वो भी मशीन्स कर रही हैं. आज भी आप देखो, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस is so powerful even today that what you cannot do, the machines are doing. आप देखो, आप उबर से आप टैक्सी बुक करो, आपका बिहेवियर स्टडी होता है उसमें. आपने एक बार देखा टैक्सी, आपने नहीं ली, फिर आपने 5 मिनट बाद देखा, फिर आपने इतने बीच में ओला चेक कर लिया, आपने रेट कंपेयर कर लिए. सब उस आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस सॉफ्टवेयर को सब मालूम है, और वो अपने हिसाब से, उस सबके हिसाब से आपके माइंड को समझ के वो अपने रेट चेंज कर रहा है. ये ऑलरेडी एप्लीकेशन चल रहा है, और ये सब ह्यूमन बींग्स कभी नहीं कर सकते. ठीक है ना? तो ये सब एप्लीकेशन तो आज हो रहा है. तो जब ये दुनिया जब आ जाएगी, when machines will overtake your mental labor also, फिर humans करेंगे क्या? Basically, what is the future for humans in that scenario? Would anyone like to say what happens to the humans? Do the machines become the masters?
Can I speak?
Yeah, please.
Machines definitely can become masters only up to a little extent. They cannot completely become masters, and definitely these softwares and these technologies are doing a lot which lot of humans can't do. You are 100% right. But there are things which even humans do, and ultimately the program has to be fed in the machine by a human being. It cannot just adopt a software or a technology or anything.
Great answer. Great answer. I'm really just wonderful that this is a very, very intelligent answer.
Shivo sir, I'm working on something which are equivalent to artificial intelligence, but which should work in the favor of mankind at large.
Great. I'm very, very happy to meet you today.
Yes, sir.
So,
thank you, sir.
So let me, what Ghanshyam has said is just so wonderful. And I tell you what Ghanshyam has said is a very rare intelligence. There are 1 out of million people who understand this point. Ghanshyam, kudos to you. You understand that. Even there are a lot of scientists who are working on AI. They also don't understand this. Best of the scientists. They think that machines can learn themselves. They think machines can learn themselves. So what is that one thing machines cannot do? There is something machines cannot do. And that is they cannot include the consciousness of the moment. A lot of people say that machines can learn. Yes, they can learn, but their learning is like only the processing of past. So example is that Kabir wrote a lot of verses, 600 years back. Now there are a lot of probably more than 100 people who must have gotten PhD on analyzing what Kabir meant in those sutras. Yeah. But none of them could write what Kabir wrote. So what descended upon Kabir was the intelligence of that moment. That's why it was so powerful. So all these intellectual scholars, they are processing what's already there, the knowledge. Okay. There could be even people who would be comparing Kabir with some painter. So it has gone cross domain. Okay. But it is still processing of the past. But the human history, the human evolution happens when there is something totally discontinuous happens in the world. Like example, Einstein's theory of relativity or Adam Smith's concept of a model, a social model, which will make the spirits free. Right? So these are the real turning points of humanity. And no machines can bring that. What is the reason machines cannot bring that? The reason is the electromagnetic field of humans, what we call soul. Yeah, I'll come to you, Ghanshyam. Just a minute. Electromagnetic field of the humans, something we call soul, is so widespread everywhere. And it is receiving intelligence, it is receiving channeling from cosmos, from everywhere. That means humans are connected with every other entity of the cosmos and they receive the collective intelligence. Machines can never do that because they are not connected with the cosmic consciousness. And what this means is, if there is one skill which is really important for humans, which is more than what your talent is, which is more than how great thinker you are and how brilliant programmer, whatever, more than anything, the skill which is going to be useful is, can you channel the consciousness of this moment? Those who can channel the consciousness of this moment, they are the ones who will be the masters of machine. Everyone else will be the slave of machine. Everyone else. And when I said this to Mukul in the morning, he said, do you mean there will be 1 crore Kabirs? I said, of course, that is the direction we are going into. And not everyone will be Kabir. There one person is Kabir, one person is Einstein, one person is Adam Smith, and one person is Abraham Lincoln, and so on, right? But they are like really channeling the cosmic consciousness. And actually, this is what we are teaching in Quanto Life: how to channel the cosmic consciousness. Yeah, Ghanshyam, please.
What you are saying, Shivo sir, is just perfect. And what Mukulji was also speaking right now definitely made sense. But the funda is, every machine that is fed with AI first needs a command to learn. And then there is a command given again to execute something. So machine cannot do anything without any command, without any program as well. So even if you have a program of, say, learn, then work, and then execute, that time when it is executing, it forgets learning. So by the time something else has developed, which the machine has not learned.
Right.
So the human learns everything. Human learns everything and then again feeds in something. And after that again gives the command.
That means the machines are always to be updated with the new consciousness.
Right, sir.
Right. Like we humans did not know anything about theory of relativity before 1905. But then that had to be fed in us. And that theory of relativity, because it is discontinuous, cannot be discovered by machines, however intelligent those are.
One more point, sir, if you permit me.
Yeah.
Humans have the capacity to work and learn at the same time, which the machines don't have, because they need a specific command for that thing and a special program for that.
Yeah, but it is said that machines can learn also. And the distinction there is, they can reprocess all kind of past. They can mix and match the different kind of dimensions, which humans can't do. Humans, if they are master of one domain, they may become master of 3 domains, 5 domains, and they can start to mix and match in processing of the past. Machines can do it with a probably infinite number of domains. They can mix and match and figure out the trends there. But okay, that is also very, very high level of machine learning. But what machines can never do, it does not matter what their computing power grows, what they can never do is to channel that discontinuous flow of cosmic intelligence into the world. And when that happens, whenever something discontinuous like that comes in the world, a human has to interfere again, reprogram every machine. And if the machine is not reprogrammed, those machines will collapse and die. So without that intelligent human who can continuously update their programs, who can continuously infuse a new understanding into the machines, those machines are going to die actually. Yeah. So can I listen from anyone else, if anyone else want to speak? Mukul, is there any question or comment?
Hi, Shivo, Mahesh here.
Yes, hi,
I
Mahesh.
think what is going discussion is that is perfect. I am just thinking metrics you talk about, and then after that machines. So I am just thinking, see, whatever creator is finally is creator. वो तो रहेगा ही. So in our case also, was somebody is creator, and अपने इधर अर्थ पे भी बहुत सारे ह्यूमन इवोल्यूशन हुए, तो जहाँ पे भी समटाइम्स कोलैप्स हुए हैं, क्योंकि कभी कभी गड़बड़ हो जाती कर जाते हैं लोग, तो एज अ गॉड लेवल पे वो कोलैप्स हो जाते हैं. अपने इसमें कृष्णा का यादव ये हो गए, अटलांटिस हो सकता है या हड़प्पा हो सकता है, बहुत सारे संस्कृति कोलैप्स हुए हैं. तो सेम थिंग एज अ वी आर डिस्कसिंग मशीन, तो इफ इट इज मशीन इज ओवरटेकिंग, तभी ऑटोमेटिकली क्रिएटर एज अ वी ह्यूमन बीइंग, तभी अपने को पता चलेगा. तो दैट टाइम क्रिएटर विल कोलैप्स समथिंग जस्ट लाइक रोबोट पिक्चर में दिखाया था. तो दैट विल बी हैपन, ऐसा मुझे लगता है.
तो महेश, आपका पॉइंट परफेक्टली वैलिड है. मैं एक पॉइंट और उसके आगे बोल रहा हूँ कि इट इज द पावर ऑफ क्रिएटर इज नॉट जस्ट इन द destruction of something. Yes, we are going to see a lot of widespread destruction, which we'll talk about soon. But there will also be creative leaps, which will give the new dimensions to the humans, and that leap has to be first understood by machines.
Correct.
You understand? So somebody has to program that leaf into the machines.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing up this point.
Shivo, I have a counter question. For example, hello.
Yes, please.
Suppose someone develops a technology through which electromagnetic field of the human soul can be measured, or even that of a god or goddess. What if same electromagnetic field is included in the machines? Then what? Because humans are very slow in adaptation and at large scale level. For example, I'll just give example. For example, if one self-driven Tesla car crashes in one part of the world, their algorithm learns what was the mistake. Once they learn it, every Tesla car in the world gets that update, that hot fix or bug fix, whatever it is. And suddenly every car becomes smarter than it was. So this is the ability of machines to adapt very fast. Humans are very slow in adaptation. So in that context, if there comes a technology wherein electromagnetic field is measured of a human or a god or goddess, or even a vibrational field. For example, we have quantum vibrational field. It's an electromagnetic field. What if that is measured and that is used, that frequency is used, and all the robots are tuned in to that electromagnetic field? Then it will be a level playing field for humans and robots. Then naturally humans cannot compete with machines because machines are fast learners and they are far more scalable than humans. This is hypothetical, but
so Mukul,
that's not a possibility.
yeah, let me give it a very practical. Let me give it a very practical shape. What question you asked? Let me turn this very practical and then discuss this. Just let me just change my phone. Huh? Just 1 minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me discuss this point in a different context. So basically, we were talking about the vibrations and how the vibrations can be used to control human mind. So let me come to something counterintuitive, but it is very, very relevant. And let me describe what is black magic and what is white magic. Because exactly that's how the vibrations work. Okay. So, and we discussed actually on a week back, we discussed that since 1997, because the electromagnetic field of the earth has become so high because of the plasma, influx of used plasma. So everything is traveling very fast, including the black magic and white magic. Both kind of magic are traveling very fast. So what black magic is doing basically, they tap the frequencies of unfortunate incidents. For example, they will tap a frequency of a disease, of a volcano erupting, of a tornado, of human pain. So they will tap those frequencies, and there are cosmic frequencies available, and they connect with that, and then they use that to attack the humans. That's how the black magic works, right? How the white magic counters the black magic. That for everything that is devilish, there is a force which is more powerful than the devilish force, and that is the Devic force. So all our gods and goddesses, they are the counter to these negative vibrations. Okay. So for example, if there is a typhoon in ocean, and that can be used to attack a human through black magic, then there is a vibration of Varun Dev, which can be used to counter that. And that vibration is far more powerful. So there are those kind of vibrations. So how do we, one of the way we can avert the danger of the matrix kind of a world is to create a database of frequencies which are divine frequencies. For example, we are currently having this program 84 Mahadev. There are 84 temples of Shiva in Ujjain. Each of the temple has a different frequency and has a different consciousness. So can we create a frequency database of that? Can we create frequency database, the frequency picked from different temples, right? Those are the frequencies which will counter these frequencies, which will be used at some other or other point. So Mukul, yes, through those machines, not only the devilish frequencies can be transmitted, but even these divine frequencies can also be transmitted. And that is going to happen. That's what the world is going to face. This kind of whole of the 22nd century is going to go in this kind of struggle. Of
Sure,
course.
can I ask a question over here?
Just 1 minute. Of course, let me end,
Yeah,
then
please.
I'll come to Alok.
Yeah, please.
Of course, in the end, it is always the Devic consciousness which wins. Even though it always appears that Asuras have far more power, but they never win. They have far more power, they can travel a lot, but they finally never win. That's the law of cosmos. The day the Asuras begin to win, the cosmos will collapse. So the cosmos is designed in a way that Asuras are supposed to believe that they are more powerful and they will win, but actually they never win. Yes, Alok.
Yeah, I just want to know just the way you have said that in 84 Mahadev's consciousness, if we know the frequency of the of that particular shivling, or say of that of the temple, now the man has made the frequency generator also, and every kind of frequency can be generated through that. So I just want to know that if we know the frequency of devas, so can we produce that frequency from the frequency generator too?
It will be possible, but we have to first measure. And there has to be a very high integrity arrangement which says that I am replicating and multiplying these frequencies. That source has to be trusted. That source has to be trusted. It has to be something like Android. See, this technology of frequency is so powerful. I mean, nothing ever has been created as powerful as this frequency technology. So this cannot be like if you see, there was this movie, Mukul, can you please remind me, Facebook? There was a movie about Facebook, how Facebook manipulates. There is
Social Dilemma, documentary on Netflix.
Yeah. So okay, let me give an example from there.
Shivo can't hear you.
1 मिनट दो यार, पूछना है.
Shivo की आवाज, I think he left. He got dropped, I think.
Mukulji, can I speak with you?
Yeah, please.
I think you were speaking about electromagnetic frequencies right now. As to the best of my knowledge, we are already using that. Whatever reactors we have got in our country as well as in several other countries, all the nations have got the reactors. Thereby, all these fusions and fissions are everything being done on the basis of frequency levels, which are being controlled. Everything is being done at a controlled level. and that is the frequencies are being used for that. So the electromagnetic frequencies that you were previously speaking about, that are already being used, and what our sadhus and everything used to do earlier in the Sanatan Dharam, you may call it, now they call it Hindu Dharam. Everything, the data, now we are using internet. That time, the data used to travel at a certain frequency, and it was a mind-to-mind communication that time, which was nothing but ether. Which was nothing but ether. So everything existed at that time as well. It is nothing new, but the consciousness about existence of all these things, and right now we are using all this, so we are now conscious. Around 30 years ago, we didn't have a computer, we didn't have a laptop, we didn't have a PC, we didn't have Ethernet. And it is such a coincidence that my first email account in 1996 was created on US.net from Mumbai, and my first email was sent to Interpol, International Criminal Police Organization, and asked them for a few the previous old documents related to 1967. And within 3 days, I got a mail from them saying that they have been shipped by first class mail, because I used to do research in law and justice as well at that time in my student days.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was a member of United States Information Service and American Central Library. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ghanashyamji. Happy to know. And as Shivo mentioned, that in the 84 Mahadev project of Ujjain, we are trying to connect as many people as possible to the unique frequencies of the Shivlinga. So it's already a running project. We are running it from 4 or 5 months on Zoom every Monday morning. We connect with people, and Atin Tripathi from Ujjain, he takes everyone to the temple. And there is a unique way of offering. Shivo and Mansi both give us the details of what that Shivlinga energy is about, because every energy is unique. For example, there is a Shivling called Kalkaleshwar Mahadev. So it is about husband-wife conflicts, the way Shiva and Parvati had conflicts sometime in history. So if those who want to resolve those kind of conflicts, that is the Shivling ideal for them. So this is the project that we are working, and in the vibrational context, if we can measure those frequencies and take it to the masses, then that's the level of work we want to do. So thank you for your input, Ghanashyamji. Keep participating.
मुकुल जी एक सवाल पूछूं?
या अरुण जी,
ये
हाँ बिल्कुल पूछिए।
एटॉमिक रेडिएशंस और इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक फील्ड में क्या फर्क है?
I am not right person. Maybe Ghanashyamji can answer. Yes, please. Yeah, Ghanashyamji.
अभी इनका सवाल, what was the exact question is? Difference between electromagnetic radiation and
atomic radiation.
Atomic radiation. See, electromagnetic every radiation has to take place at a certain frequency, whether it is electromagnetic or it's atomic radiation. But the funda is, even atomic radiation is nothing but an electromagnetic radiation. There can be nothing else. All the atoms, molecules, and nuclear fissions and fusions, everything needs to happen at a certain frequency. Whether it is atomic, you call it nuclear, you call it anything.
Google says that cosmic energy is not a electromagnetic.
Yeah.
Very clearly it is written.
Yeah, any energy has to go at a certain frequency. It has to travel, whether it is atomic or whether it is nuclear. So electromagnetic, what you're speaking about, see, every energy requires a frequency. That is one aspect, whether it is atomic or whether it is what you call electromagnetic. Electromagnetic is a combustion of both, the unity of both, electrical as well as magnetic. It contains two qualities. That is the only difference. And atomic has something to do with the atom.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, sure.
I hope you've got your answer.
Cosmic
as well. See, when we talk of a vehicle moving at a certain pace, at a certain speed, Frequency is nothing but speed. It's a channel of speed, nothing else.
So yeah, Shivo is
Arunji,
here.
please,
Shivo,
yeah. Arunji,
Yeah,
please
hello.
post whatever you found on Google. Please post in the group,
Hello.
so we will have a discussion. Yeah, sure,
Yes.
we can hear you. Please continue.
Yes, so yes, Ghanshyam, so I am loving what you're saying, and you are welcome for whatever collaborations are possible. We can discuss that. So I was talking about the movie Social Dilemma. So what is the problem there? The problem is not Facebook is manipulating. Problem is not technology. Problem is that the technology is available only with one player.
Voice is not clear, Shiva sir. Hello.
If I am able to find those 50 people across the world with whom I can creatively collaborate, can you see what will happen to the potential of every human being on the earth? So the problem is not the technology. Problem is it is concentrated in just one hand. That is the problem, isn't it? Same way, the problem is not that there is a machine to transmit frequency. The problem is if it is being controlled by few people, that is the problem. So if we can have a certain database which is like open system like Android, right? Then there will be all the good things and all the bad things. So at least it is not controlled by someone, and even both the things, the good and bad, have a chance. Am I making sense here, Mukul? So,
Shiva, is control a problem, or being controlled by a wrong person is a problem? For example, if there are 200 nations and all the head of the nations happen to be 200 Buddhas, then what?
no, but that is what the Satyuga is, no? That is a concept of Satyuga.
So control is not a problem. The lack of consciousness,
yes, of course,
of the people who are having control, that's the problem, right?
Yeah, because if there is a Buddha is the head of the government, then he will do everything loving. I mean, there can be nothing better that can happen.
Right.
But the problem is that we are in the times of low consciousness, so that is not going to happen. Okay,
Yeah.
in Satyuga was that's what is called Satyuga.
Okay.
Shiva,
Interesting.
Shiva, just one question is related to just like last 2 years, Corona was spreading in entire the world, correct? So same thing, it cannot be spread good consciousness in the world. So it is possible. Anything? Because Corona was just a one disease.
So I
Same
don't
thing
get
can
your
be
question. I don't get your question, Mahesh.
No, my question was just we are in Dwapar Yuga and low consciousness. So my question was just before 2 years we saw every in world in means corner of the world was Corona was infected. Same thing can we as a we are spiritual persons. So can we spread spirituality or higher consciousness
Okay, so
to everybody? It is possible to send
let
higher
me
consciousness
first come to the
conscious.
question of Corona. So Mahesh, you have been a student of astrology. You will understand it better, but I am sure everybody can understand. So through my study of astrology, I have seen, Mahesh, you can verify this. Every time the Saturn and Ketu come together in anyone's zodiac sign, there is something, a deep pattern of humanity breaks. Okay.
Correct.
So it happened in 2019 when Saturn, Ketu, Jupiter, Pluto, 4 planets were together. I think this was very unprecedented. But just look at the time when even Saturn and Ketu, just 2 of them have come together. So it happened in 2008 when there was a housing crisis, economic crisis in the whole world. Before that, 1997, if you remember, there was
Correct.
Asian
Correct.
1986, Chernobyl disaster. Okay. Before that, 1975, the oil crisis, inflation across the world. Before that was 1964. A lot of unfortunate things everywhere in the world happened. The Cold War was going on, and there was the great droughts and famines in Russia, where 3 million peasants died, even though they had all the grain to feed them, but they died of hunger. Same kind of things were happening in China. So every time, 1953, the disastrous Korean War. Before that, 1941, the World War II fueled up. So if you look back, every time the Saturn Ketu came together, there was something which really crashed.
Correct.
But that crash always created an opening for something new to begin. So when I seen this particular combination coming up, those who have been part of Quanto Life, they would remember that right from 2018, I had started to talk about it. We have been having sessions on what might happen and where the world is going to go after some drastical changes happen. And there was one thing I always used to say. I always used to say the old ecosystem of the world is going to crash and the new ecosystem will flourish. Because why I was saying that? Because the Saturn, Ketu, Jupiter, Pluto conjunction was happening in Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is the sign of ecosystem. So a new ecosystem was supposed to come up. And my prediction was that the ecosystem which has been going on for long, that was a money-based, material-based ecosystem, will crash. And the idea-based and mind-based ecosystem is going to flourish after 2020. And that's what exactly we have seen has happened through the times of Corona. Mukul, what do
Hello. I think we lost Shivo again. So Shiva was sharing some astrological parameters.
Yeah, Mukul. Hello.
Yeah, Shiva.
Are you there?
Voice is still
Hello.
not. Yeah. Yeah, Shiva.
No voice.
I think he has dropped once again.
Yeah, he will join back. Just one moment.
Yeah.
मुकुल
So
जी,
till then, Mukul, he
मैंने
joined.
जो बोला था वो भी पूछ लो. The future of India
Future of India
is very bright. Don't worry.
important बात है. It's a prime time for us.
Yes, I'm still having one more futurist which we haven't discussed, and he has made solid predictions on the superpowers, how a nation becomes a superpower, what are the parameters of its rising, what are the parameters of its decline. So a very interesting conversation is yet to come. So in that context, you can ask your.
Okay, but in that context, he has already declared that superpower remains only US.
We dropped out, so that's why I said it's a controversial conversation.
I dropped out.
Hi, Shiv.
आवाज में problem है, sir. It's dragging.
Shiv, please say something.
आवाज की problem है, वो बोलना है.
No, Shiv, you are not audible at all.
But what is the conversation? What is conversation?
Shiva, you want to finish your point first? Arunji is asking about the future of India. So when we cover the changing world order topic, we will address that because I think we are already 10:15.
So, am I audible? Am I audible now?
Yeah,
It's
sure.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was asking, you were discussing something controversial. What is controversial?
No, we haven't yet discussed yet the topic of changing world orders, the prediction by Ray Dalio.
Okay. So we were discussing the corona. So that's what exactly has happened. A new ecosystem has come up. And Mukul, I need to go a little more depth in that because that's something very practical for today's entrepreneurial environment. We have to understand what has happened through corona, how the world has changed. This is an insight which everyone needs to have, isn't it?
Absolutely sure. Corona has been an eye opener and accelerator of many things. Uh, just one example, right? Due to Corona. Sorry, you continue, show, then I'll.
So one thing that has happened because of corona, I want to share some very deep insight about this. With corona, your unique individuality has become very, very important. And what you did based on the expectations of how others are doing. Let's say I open a coaching class because there is another coaching class which is doing well in my city. Okay. So another thing we were discussing another day, a few days back, I don't remember exactly when, but we were discussing in one of our sessions that now you cannot have you cannot follow a niche. There is some there is some echo from somewhere.
शिवो आपके दो फोन्स ऑन है स्पीकर
एक मिनट मैं देखता हूँ.
हाँ, एक म्यूट कर दीजिए.
Yeah. So so what has happened is
Mukul, can you talk something?
Yeah, Alok ji.
Yes.
Okay, hey,
Yeah, just 1 minute. Yeah. So there was something we were discussing few days back, which is very, very important. That in yesterday's world, we used to think, what is my right niche? Okay. What kind of a niche I should follow in the business? But now that time is over, you cannot follow any niche because whatever the niche may be, the top player in that niche is going to have the 90% market share. So the only thing left for you is to create your own niche. You have to create a niche which was never there, never ever there in the world. That is a niche you have to create. Okay. So how do you create that niche is the question. And that is something, I think this is the deepest question the post-corona business environment has thrown to us. What's your unique niche? Because unless you find your unique niche, you cannot flourish. I will give you an example. So let's say there is a small city. Okay, let's say there is city of, um, let's say Udaipur. Okay, now in Udaipur, let's say there is a famous chemistry teacher, and there is a famous maths teacher, and there is a famous English teacher. Okay, so whoever is the best, the students want to go to him. So there would be 2-3 famous teachers in Udaipur, and there will be some in every city. But what happens when the classes come online, when the classes begin to happen on Zoom, that boundary of Udaipur has broken. So suddenly there are too many good maths teacher or chemistry teacher across India, and some of them will be the best. He will again begin to attract. That's why if you see, some of the teachers have got millions of followers on YouTube because they have emerged as the best. So now what is the scope for you? So you have to figure out something where you are the best, which is your unique individuality. So it's a continuous path of exploration. Who am I? Really, it has become very important to understand who you are, to constantly chop off what you are not, constantly become aware, okay, this is not who I am, and to constantly come to who I am and to create the highest value. And this is what actually we are going to, this whole process of creation or creating your own brand, we are going to discuss in our upcoming quantum entrepreneurship workshop, which is starting day after tomorrow. Workshop is almost full already. If you want to enroll, please do so quickly. And this workshop happens once in a year. So if you miss it now, you are going to miss it for next 1 year. So this is the crux actually, your unique individuality. You have to discover that. You can no more do business because somebody else has become successful in that business. If you are following that kind of a mentality, mindset, you may only survive, you may barely survive, but you cannot flourish. This is what the post-corona world is. In pre-corona world, as long as you had the resources, you could follow somebody's business model and you could still become successful, but not now. Not now. Yeah, Mukul. I hope that brings clarity to some of the people here. And I would love to listen. If anybody want to make a comment, I would love to listen that. Or if there is any question.
Audience, quickly one question we can take.
हम पूछो कुछ?
या अरुण जी,
इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि हम धीरे धीरे स्वर्ग की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं.
हम लोग यूनिक इंडिविजुअलिटी की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं,
जो कि अल्टीमेटली स्वर्ग लाएगा.
I would say कि this is one of the spiritual values, to discover your unique individuality. But it has to be, if it is very conscious, then it definitely makes the world a very beautiful place. But if it is unconscious, then it's a different game. So the whole thing is still about consciousness. But yes, this is one of the character of today's world, is that we are moving towards this post-corona world is about you being an environment where to become successful, you have to discover your unique individuality. Without that, you cannot become successful.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Shivo, I think let's move to the last topic.
Yeah.
Does someone have a question?
Yeah, Mukul, I just wanted to ask. So, Shivo, we another 15-20 minutes. Should we invite AD here, or we'll do it separately?
No, we'll close here and then we'll join the AD. Maybe,
okay, thank you.
Yeah, maybe we will join little late. So if you request them, if they can start 5-7 minutes late, we'll complete in next 15 minutes, I think.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, so they can start. I think they start at 10:35, and we probably can join at 10:40, 10:45.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, sure.
Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah. Yes,
Okay,
Mukul.
so the last futurist I want to discuss is Ray Dalio. He was a hedge fund manager, probably one of the most successful hedge fund managers in the world. And he has studied the last 500 years of history, and he has come up with his theory of changing world orders, how superpowers come in power and how do they decline. And he found a strong correlation of some factors, and each and every superpower has followed the same cycle that he has derived. So to derive that cycle, he has considered 8 factors of every nation, what collectively calls as total power of a nation. So those 8 factors are education quality, innovation and tech development, competitiveness in global markets, economic output, share of world trade, military strength, power of financial center for capital markets, and strength of their reserve currency. So these are the 8 factors that he has taken into consideration, which decides power of a nation. Based on that, he has studied last 500 years of superpowers, all superpowers, but majorly he has taken into consideration 4 superpowers. One is Dutch superpower, then British superpower, then Dutch, British, American, and one more superpower is there. So these superpowers that he has studied, and China. So this superpowers data he has mapped on the graph, and he has come up with a hypothesis that US as a superpower is in declining mode, and China as a superpower is in rising mode. And he has very statistically given all those parameters. At the same time, he has said that this can be prevented. US can still retain its power with extraordinary efforts, but he hasn't given details what those extraordinary efforts can be. But a very clear, very precise study, very neat and clear data is already available. So Shiva, we want to know, is there any astrological influence over a certain nation when certain nation becomes a superpower? Number one. Number two, what he is suggesting that US is in declining mode and China is in rising mode, is that true? And third question, third question came from the audience. What about India? So if you can throw astrological perspective.
One thing I have to say is that every nation, I did a huge research on this. Every nation has got 2 most important planets which rule them. So US is ruled by Mercury. That is why as soon as the age of Mercury came, 1945, US became the superpower. And nobody is going to shake US from that superpower till 2049. Why China became strong in past 10-15 years is because there are 50-year consciousness cycle, and the bottom of that was 2019, top of that was 1994, and you can just go back every 50 years. Like the top was again 1944, bottom was again 1969. If you look at the world in these 50-year cycle, whatever incidents have happened in the world, it will clearly show that what happens at the top at 44s and 94s is always something. The world goes into a whole new level. World is a much better place. And when it is at 19 and 69, those years, the world is going through its worst. So it was a very
Sure, can't hear you.
So the world was going through. Am I audible?
Yeah. Please continue.
So the world was going through a very low conscious period. So whatever has happened in the world in past 10, 15 years, do not assume that this is what is going to continue. A lot of people have this tendency to project trends linearly. So they are saying that something has begun to happen in past 15 years. So now this is what is going to continue for another 100 years. Not so. Whatever the trends that developed in past 15 years in the world, all those trends are going to reverse. All those trends. And these new trends which will come, they will overtake the old trend by 2027 or 28. So this 27 or 28 is again a very important number. This came in 1927. This came in 1977. Now this will come in 1927. Go before that, 1877, 1827, all these 27 and 77. They are very defining years where the new consciousness overtakes the old one. So the new trends have already begun to emerge, but they will, right now, the old trends which have developed in past 10, 15 years, they are appearing very strong to you, but all these trends will be overtaken in next 5 years. I can say, like if you read the management books of 1990s, all the books were like, small is beautiful, elephant cannot dance. They were always talking about that whenever there is a fight between a small company and big company, it is always a small company that will win, right? Anybody remembers that? That was the general consensus. Now what has happened now? It is a big company which is winning. But this is not how it is going to be in another 5 years. Same way, if you see now everywhere in the world, you see there is so much patriotism. But what was happening at 1994? Everybody was talking about the one world, the globalization. So that is a real trend. Real trend is not patriotism. Real trend is globalization. And that's what, again, the globalization will supersede the patriotism in 2027 or 28. So whatever trends you see, they are going to reverse. So what happens is, at the bottom of this 50-year cycle, the past takes a hold of you. We start to believe that what was there in past is good. But when you actually reach the top of the cycle, there you are present to the consciousness of that moment, and you say what is there at this moment, that is important. At the bottom of the cycle, you say whatever was there in the past, that is important. I want to stick to that. So everywhere in the world, the consciousness that has come in past 10, 15 years is to worship the past. If you see Putin, what is Putin is talking about? The Tsar, the Russian Tsars, and the past 5,000 years of glory. What was talked in Turkey? What did Trump talk about? Right? We will bring back the glory of America. What happened in Turkey? We want the old caliphates, right? And what was happening in Sri Lanka? The golden 2,000 years of Buddhism. We will bring that back. What is happening in India? The golden period of India. Everybody is talking about their own golden periods. This is the bottom consciousness. At the consciousness of the top, you are creating in that moment. You are creating in that moment. That is the peak consciousness. You are living in the moment. You are learning from past. You are integrating past. But past does not make choices for you. You do not live in the glory of the past. Your commitment is to create now. So this whole sticking to the past will be overtaken by our creative urges, our finding solutions for present, our creating something in this moment. This trend will overtake our allegiance to past in 2027-28. This is what I'm clearly predicting. Okay, when is the time for India to ascend? For India, the important planets are Jupiter and Mercury. So India has a very good future in this Mercury era. So I would say that next 25-30 years are going to be great for India, but not that great that India will become the lighthouse or something. But the real time for India, when India becomes a lighthouse, will actually begin around 2200, when the era of Jupiter begins, and it is going to continue for 900 years. So I think you will have to take few more births to see the Indian ascendant. Also, a little bit I want to talk about. Yeah, Mukul, you are laughing. Something you want to say?
No, I had a different question. That you said that all nations want to go back to their past, which is glorious. And at the same time, you also say that we need to imbibe wisdom of the
Mukul,
past.
one more
So
thing
how
I
is it
want to
possible
say.
that-
One more thing I want to say. The superpowers you mentioned, they were the nations which had almost no past. The British, the greatest superpower of the world, did not have past. They did not have past. They were like considered very lowly people living in an island, and they were considered so lowly that it is very famous saying, Roman Empire, emperor used to say, we don't want to invade Britain, because why you want to create hassles with those rowdy people? There is nothing to be gained from there. They don't have anything. Why should we attack them? Roman empires refused to attack Britain because they did not have anything. And there were great nations like Portugal, like Italy, like Rome, right? They were the great nations of Europe.
Right. So my question, Shiva, is how to imbibe past wisdom and still not get stuck into its glory? Because isn't it natural to human mind when you really love something? For example, Indian tradition, there is so much wisdom. I want to use that wisdom. At the same time, you're saying don't sing the song of glory, past glory. How is it possible? Either I will let go everything and start from zero, or I will bask
I'm
in the
keeping
glory.
both
Right?
of my phones open.
Because as you mentioned, right, the four world powers, they did not have their past. So probably that's why they became superpower.
Hello.
But here you are saying, yeah, sure.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, sure, you are audible.
Yeah. So, Mukul, do you realize it was in Britain the science and technology was born? Newton was born in Britain. Why? Newton was just not an accident. Because right from 1300, the Cambridge University was set up, and they were about free thinking. They said, we don't care about Bible, what it says. We will think rationally. That's why the science and technology was born in Britain. That's why they became superpower. Now look at America. Okay.
Sure, it's echoing.
Yeah. Now look at America. Did they have any past? Did America have
No.
a past? Right. So this is one of the conditions of becoming superpowers. I don't think China will become. Yeah, China is a nation of 140 crores. I don't think it's going to be a superpower, at least at this stage. And
sure, they are able to pull out 1 billion people out of poverty line in 30 years. Don't you see that as a phenomenal
right,
achievement?
but you don't know the Chinese history. Every few years, they face a crisis which is unprecedented. Just in 70s, millions of people starved in China. Millions. Look at the history. Just in 1949, in the Long March, millions of people perished. Do you see how many crises China has been through? And don't think this is what you look at China now is a prospect of China. It is too discontinuous. China has been collapsing again and again. That is the history of China. It is not going to change.
Okay.
One of the condition of being superpower is the freedom from the past. Another thing I want to say, the times have become very discontinuous. So in past 25 years, we are in the world which was not there for 500 years. So whatever has happened in 500 years, you cannot extrapolate that to next 500 years, because for next 500 years to 700 years, Earth is going through the galactic equator, and that's why there is a huge plasma. We are going through something totally unprecedented for next 700 years. So there are two consequences of that, two corollaries of that. One is positive, one is negative. Positive is whatever knowledge, whatever vibrations are there at any part of the world, any part of the galaxy, anywhere, we are accessing that. All kind of vibrations. The disaster is that we are facing so much plasma today that there are natural disasters, and there will be huge natural disasters in next 700 years to come. And I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of futurists are predicting that 99% of the human population will be wiped out in next 150 years, and I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, and that's why there is a
what India can do. India can play a great role because India knows this. What we should do is, if the electromagnetic field of the earth is strong, then it has much more capacity to bear the plasma, to imbibe the plasma. Okay. And through the Kali Yuga, past 2000 years, constantly the electromagnetic field of the earth has been plummeting. But in past 20 years, it has begun to go up because we are in ascending Yuga. But this is not enough to handle the natural crisis of earth. If we all humans begin to work on our own electromagnetic fields, purify it and connect it with the earth electromagnetic field, then the electromagnetic field of the earth can begin to grow up very fast, and the world will be able to uh, sail through the disaster much more smoothly. This technology India has. So this is where India can play a great role.
And Shiva, how do you see role of entrepreneurship in this larger context? How quantum entrepreneurship can contribute in this direction?
See, the quantum entrepreneurship is all about being in creative acts, channeling the cosmos. So there are too many potentials currently. There are too many truths which are yet to arrive, and which are really, I always say that we all have a frequency. And for every frequency, there is a project for us which is stored in cosmic frequencies. When your own frequency rises, it purifies, you can directly tap into that project and it will come to you. That is quantum entrepreneurship. It's not, quantum entrepreneurship is not that I am trying hard. Yes, you have to try hard. But actually, the main thing is the blessing of God, the blessing of cosmos that dawns upon you, that descends upon you. That's the point. Because whatever frequency, if you raise your frequency, if your frequency has been raised, then there is another project for you which is stored somewhere in cosmos.
So we need to tap into cosmic intelligence rather than individual intelligence.
We have to work on our own. We have to work for the excellence of our own intelligence, but we surrender it to cosmic intelligence.
Okay.
Remember, if you take one step, God will take 10 steps. But you have to take one step. You have to work for your own excellence. You have to commit. And then you will see 10 steps from God. This is quantum entrepreneurship. That what is that one step we can take? And then how do we understand that what is the 10 step God is taking for us? That's why in QuantoLife, we always say, if you have taken a step forward, always wait for life to respond. Don't take another step quickly. Wait, because life is going to respond. understand what step life has taken, then decide your next step.
Thank you, Shiv. Wonderful explanation. Shiv, it's echoing.
Yeah, it's closing. Just give me. Yeah. Yeah. Today the network was really disturbed. Normally it is not so, but I don't know. There is some problem with the network. With both the networks, there was problem. Yeah. So please, can we have some comments from if anybody wants to
I
make a
think
comment?
Alokji has been trying to ask something from a long time. So,
Yeah, please.
Alokji, please go ahead.
Mukul, I just want to say something about the consciousness which Shivu was talking about, that if we are living in the present consciousness, then do we really need the future? Why should we why should we more conscious about the future, that what will happen in the future? Why don't we stick only in the present consciousness? Because
So,
consciousness has every guidance, because consciousness knows everything.
Yeah.
So why don't we are so worried about the future? What will happen in the future?
No,
What will happen in 2046?
Don't be worried about future, but just know that what we call this moment now is the integration of
that's
past,
right.
present, and future. It is the integration of past, present, and future. Okay.
Right.
Real now is not disconnected with past and future. Let's say if you are going to, let's say you have a flight to catch at 5 a.m. in the morning, right? So that will decide what preparation you should be doing right now. You will be packing your bags and doing other preparations, right? Do you see the future is deciding your present? So this dictum, this spiritual saying that live in the present has been very deeply misunderstood. It doesn't mean do not consider future. It only means do not get ruled by future. What will happen in future? I am stressed, I am worried, I am anxious. Don't go in that, because future is here right now. It's not that it will come. It's already here. You understand? In every moment, see, your whole of the past is involved. The moment you are living, suppose some client comes to meet you and you are discussing with him, are you not using all your knowledge you accumulated from past?
Yes.
But the point is the past dictating your choice? Is the future dictating your choice? Future and past are going to be part of this moment. But live in this moment means do not get controlled by past, do not get controlled by future.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
Yes, anyone else has any comment to make?
I feel that India is doing much more than other countries so far as artificial intelligence are concerned. So I feel
Yeah,
that
definitely India has a very strong Mercury. India is one of the planets that rules. India is Mercury, and we are living in Mercury A. So India will do wonderful in artificial intelligence.
so once the future is bright than any other countries, because the brain behind all is
No,
actually.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't rate India as the top country right now.
Okay.
Because see, today's environment requires very deep thinking, and that if you see where the entrepreneurship is flourishing today, it is in US. But there is so much freedom of thinking there. People are trying to create something new. Here, what has happened in India in past 10-15 years, we have started to believe our past is glorious, so we deserve something today. अरे आपके बाप दादा बहुत शानदार थे, दैट डजंट मीन यू डिजर्व समथिंग, है ना। वो जैसे हैदराबाद के नवाब, मेरे बाप दादा नवाब थे, आपके पास अभी खाने के लिए नहीं है, आपके आपके वो पूर्वज नवाब हुआ करते थे, तो अभी आपके पास तो खाने के लिए भी नहीं है ना। तो इंडिया को सबसे पहले ये लेसन सीखना है कि भैया ड्रॉप, आप पास्ट को नमस्कार करो, लेकिन पास्ट से चिपको मत भाई, नया क्रिएट करो अभी, न्यू। ये जो थिंकिंग जो मिस हो गई ना इंडिया में, दिस इज द बिगेस्ट ट्रैप फॉर इंडिया। इंडिया हैज टू बिकम फ्री फ्रॉम दिस, free from the glory of worshipping of the past. Our glory of past will not bring anything in future. You have to create in this moment. That thinking of creation has gone missing totally. We have to really, and I'm sure India will come out of this. I'm sure.
Sure, is that the reason why Indians are shining outside India?
Right, true.
The global CEOs,
Indians
most of them are Indians, but they have studied outside India.
Yeah, Indians are so brilliant. They're so intelligent. They are so sharp. But when they go outside, they are able to use that sharpness because there is no past, and they cannot hold on to the past themselves. They cannot go in America and say, I've come from India, my past was glorious. No, they cannot say that. They have to create there, then and there something, right?
Yeah.
This is what we need to create in our own nation, in our own country. Not sticking to past story, but to create in this moment. Solve the problems of this moment. Past is not going to help you. Past will not solve your problems.
Thank you.
Superb.
Great message. Probably this we are going to upload in YouTube.
Yeah, it will be there on YouTube. Yes.
Shivoji, one thing I would like to say is that I fully agree with your point to work in total sync with the divine cosmos for a very beautiful and nice future for the further generations to come ahead.
Thank you very much, Ghanshyamji, and I really welcome you for whatever collaborations are possible. We are doing quite a lot in channeling consciousness, and we are doing a lot of things. We are yet a very small organization, but what we are doing is quite disproportionate to our size. So you are welcome to.
I am with you 100%.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So we will connect with you. You are there on our guest group.
Yeah.
So can you just please send a message so that we can connect with you?
100%. I'll just send in a message.
Okay. Right.
Thank you very much
everyone for joining.
Thanks, everyone. It was a wonderful interactive session. And if you have still any questions, feel free to post in guest group and join our upcoming Quantum Entrepreneurship Program. We will have a much deeper level of discussions during the entrepreneurship program. And it's one of its kind. The discussions are totally backed by the research and fresh insights that will blow your mind. So see you all in the entrepreneurship program. Thank you.
Thank you, Mukul. Excellent way the conversation was. And
thank you, Nimesh.
Yeah, and I'll share the YouTube link whenever you put it. Please inform. So that will be helpful to so many people and so many youngsters also.
Definitely. We will post in the group. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.